So we're going to undo these three here across the top. You can pull the headlights out and lay them across and reach in and access these, which I'll probably end up having to do on that side because of the coolant bottle being in the way. There is two here. They are T25 like screws, so you can get up in there and get this out of the way. And like I said, there's three nuts on the back side of this on both sides. Like I said, I'll probably end up just pulling these lights out of the way. The best way to do that is I undo the ones here. I can pull out on this cover a little bit, kind of tuck them up over, and then I'll pull them and I'll just lay these up here because they're hooked into all this HID stuff now. And then there'll also be three here on this side. Now you can come down here across the bottom. All right, this has all of the underpinnings, however you want to say it. There is 4 across here. There should be some more here, but it looks like most of those are missing, so we have 1 and 2. So I'm just going to take those off that way, and you'll have to obviously unplug your fog lights and your side marker lights when you have the bumper off. So I'll do that, and then I'll set it off to the side. I'll show you what it looks like with the intercooler on there, and then we'll get this one fitted up. We already have our charge pipes removed and cleaned up and ready for reinstallation. All right, I wanted to get in there before I did pull the old one off, but there's a look at the new one here installed. The bumper cover is off. It looks like we have an issue over here with this side marker. They had it duct taped in. First time I've seen that. So that was kind of interesting. Like I said, everything's off. There's the 3 studs here that have nuts. I'm going to clean these up, probably put some anti-seize on. That way, if anybody has to take this off again, it won't be a problem from them. This is the first time I've seen someone actually bend the horn out of the way so you can reach down in here and unplug the fog light. Kind of a good idea. Just, I wouldn't have thought of even doing that just because. But the intercooler's installed. Let's go take a look at the stock one. So here's the stock one. This is what this one looks like. Alright, it was actually not too bad. It had a couple small dents in it, one there toward the bottom. Not sure what the life cycle of that was or what it had to deal with. So there you go. That's kind of what it looks like. I'm going to be reinstalling the bumper. I got to get these headlights reinstalled. Like I said, I just pulled them up out of the way. They have the HIDs in. Like I said, I'm not a true fan of those things. I'd rather have LEDs now. It's just better. So yeah, we're gonna get this thing on, and that's gonna kind of pretty much conclude our install on that, because we'll be installing these. You can get aftermarket hard pipes. We're just don't have them at the time right now to install on this car. And next thing we got to do is we got to pull the turbo off, like I was going over on some of that stuff. So when I get that down to the point of actually pulling it off, I'll turn the camera on. I'll show you what I got done. Turbo's on. Wish I had a manifold sitting here. I would kind of try to show you what I was messing with here. So we just, we reused this. We added a blue plate. The turbo, when they go to sit in, you need to make sure that you can spin this freely and it's not hitting nothing. I took a caliber gauge. Oh, there it is. There's the old turbo, okay? Right there. And I measured it. So, I don't think it's the exhaust side is big. I think that it's just that this was in there from all the heat cycles, and there's rust buildup inside of the manifold itself. So basically I got, still in here, yep. Just have a little grinding disc. I put the wire wheel in this so that I could reach in here and get in and clean the rust out and got it reassembled. Right now I'm working on getting the upper heat shield back in. I can run my hose that goes underneath, and then I'm ready to install my clean coil and my new heat shield, and then we're going to be about ready to, we can add some coolant in here. I still have to install the charge pipes and gauges and strut bars and the battery. So we're gonna get those taken care of. These will be pretty easy getting these installed. Easy on, easy off. And then I'll have to install the cold air kit and the vacuums and the solenoids. We did have a bad caliper over here. It didn't want to compress. So luckily I had a used one. We got that thrown on. I need to bleed out the brakes there yet. This side is all done. This one actually had the caliper replaced. It's not red. It's actually, I don't know, zinc coated or something. So it's actually holding up pretty good to the age or time. I don't know, however you want to say that. But we did straighten out our battery tray. We got that painted also. We got to finish bolting that down. So here's another bolt into the mix. We did change the oil. That stuff is already taken care of. I'm going to get the funnel ready to go so we can start adding coolant into this. And then we'll double check everything. I do have my fuel relay pulled because when I get this thing ready to start, I'm going to do a couple good cranks to make sure that I have oil flowing up into my turbo and I'm not starting that dry. I'm not, watch the hand talk. So I'm not quite sure where I left off on the last video. Basically because I was doing so much stuff, including working on this car also. So I just got done finishing up installing some gauges. So we got a nice little 3-pod pillar over here on the side. I'm hoping that there's going to be enough charge in the battery that we can cycle this thing over a couple times before we do our initial fire up here. Okay, so a quick rundown is we had the timing belt apart, so we pulled the water pump and changed all of that. So we had the coolant drained. We drained and changed our oil. We also replaced the turbo and had those lines apart. So we're going to start it up. We're going to bring it up to temp. I did bleed everything out. And we're just going to make sure that we don't have any coolant leaks on the backside of the turbo. So let's make this happen. Alright, so I've actually done that 3 other times off of camera to try to pump oil up into our turbo. So right now what I'm going to do is I've hooked up the fuel pump relay. I'm just going to cycle that key 2 or 3 times. I've only got my small connection over here to check. Okay, so I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to double check. Yep. All right. We're good on our fuel line. So here we go. Start this thing up. All right, so fire's up. Sounds like it's got a miss. So I ended up, what we did was, here, let's just check out these codes. All right, because then I'm gonna pull them. We're gonna see what they are. 1, 2, 3. So we have a 627 073. And a 344. So I'm gonna look them up here real quick and see what we got. Okay, so the 627 is a fuel pump relay code, which is something we should see because we tried cranking it over without the relay plugged in, okay? 073 is ambient air temp sensor, so we just got to double check to make sure that's plugged in. But when it came here, it had a 344 code for a cam sensor. So we're just going to go double check that, clear codes, and maybe try another cam sensor to see if that fixes our issue, as I'm unsure of why, or it could be an electrical wiring issue, which is quite common with them too. So here we go. I'll show you what I find. All right, so find out the cam sensor was one that came from AutoZone. So I don't know if it was just bad from the get-go or what the issue was, but I pulled out this is a used OEM Mopar one that I had, pulled off of a motor that I know worked. All right, so it's on. We don't have a code for that. We have a code for this. Right now, what I'm doing is I'm letting it come up to temp, making sure we got heat coming out of our vents. Car's reading good. I gotta check the sensor wire here and see if we have oil pressure. Yeah, I think I got a sensor wire issue here. And then our voltage is actually reading good, so we're good there. As far as I know, I think it has something set with the fans coming on sooner. So the fans come on already. And like I said, I'm just letting this thing run for a little bit because we did have a lot of stuff apart. Sounds pretty good. And like I said, we're just walking around, letting it run. We got to give this thing a good look over, double check all of our lines at our turbo, check our water pump. Best way to do that is to look underneath. So far we don't have anything dripping. We're good to go, I think. We'll get this thing together. We'll do one more closeout, kind of show you everything that was done here. And, you know, like I said, this thing's going to be back out on the road hurting some feelings. I know there's more plans that are going to be, more plans and more modifications done to this car in the near future from what I'm told. So, but it's done. It's together. The little tiny things we got to finish up, and they're always the fun ones at the end of the job. All right, there we go. I'm sitting on the ground for the first time. Suspension, I'm sure, has to do some settling, but I don't know. It looks like it might be still sitting a little high in the rear by the looks of it. We'll take this thing for a drive. The suspension's going to settle a little bit. We did get our front and rear strut bars are now fully installed. And everything is just ready to go, to be driven, to be tested out, to make sure that everything is good to go. We did bring it up to temp. We had no leaks. And I think pretty much with this, we're calling this done.